Hello, everybody. This is Kama with Pursuing Your Passion. I want to first of all thank you so much for tuning in. Today, my guest is Jennifer Tuley. She is the Image Re-inventor Expert. This is going to be a great hangout, great interview. I want you to welcome my guest, Jennifer Tuley. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Com. It's so great to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm glad we got everything together. You know, it seems like with technology, it's always something, right?
It is. And no matter how well we plan for things, there always seems to be a little last minute glitch, but I think we got
Right,
everything figured out.
right. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell people what you do?
Sure. So again, my name is Jennifer Tuley, and I am the Image Reinvention Expert. And a lot of times people ask me, Jennifer, what does that mean? And what that means is that I work with people on reinventing who they are and discovering the image that they have of themselves. I had teachers in school when I was younger who, told me things that that put an impression upon myself, that caused me to think a certain way about myself. And from that, I developed kind of a negative self-image when I was growing up. The experts say that by the time a girl is 9 years old, her self-image is already developed about herself. So having an impression like that upon me as a young child, I really developed some feelings about myself that caused me to have an image of myself that I wasn't particularly fond of. So what I do is I work with my clients on discovering what it is that they feel about themselves and what beliefs that they have about themselves, and work to help them, live the life that they were meant to live.
Wow, that's something that we all need.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell people what happened, if you don't mind, that allowed you to work in this particular niche? Because people really need to listen to this.
Sure, sure. So when I was in elementary school, I had some teachers that would tell me things like, you know, no wonder nobody's friends with you. You know, you're just dumb. I don't understand why you don't get this. No wonder no one wants to play with you on the playground. And that had such an impression upon me as a young child. And because of that, it really set myself up for a series of steps within my life that I made decisions that I wouldn't necessarily have made if I had only felt differently about myself, if I had believed that I was worthy of more, or if I had believed that I deserved more. And so I made some decisions that really caused me to take a look at how did I feel about myself, and why was I making these decisions that I had made. Was it purely based on what I thought about myself? So that's what I work with clients on is, where did you develop these feelings? Was it something that was told to you at an earlier age when you were younger?
Well, that's so it's hurting because children are at an impressionable age, and people are so cruel sometimes, even the teachers and sometimes even the parents, and we have to be very careful of how we speak to our
Right.
children. Why don't you explain things that you can tell the parents out there what they can do to help a child understand them, and how this can help carry them despite what other people may say or think.
Sure. So, parents are certainly one of the most influential groups of people in a child's life, and they certainly have the potential to help mold that image of the children. And, Dr. Maxwell Maltz has this great book called Psychocybernetics, and in it he talks about how things are developed and how things are impressed upon our mind. And this can work negatively or positively into a child's self-image and develop their subconscious. So he talks about saying things that that are said by an authority figure. So, if someone in a position of authority, so certainly a teacher or a parent, says things to a child, then those things are certainly taken on by the child's subconscious.
Dr. Maxwell
One of the other things is when things are told to a child repeatedly or to anyone repeatedly. So, if a parent says to a child repeatedly, "You're so dumb," or "Why do you do stupid things like that?" That certainly is taken into our subconscious. And the third thing he talks about is when things are said with emotion or with force.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says something to you repeatedly, and it's someone who is an authority figure, and they're said with great emotion or they're said forcefully, those three types of things are impressed upon our subconscious, and we carry those things with us for quite a long time, or until we have someone help us to see that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. So certainly parents, as big influential factors in a child's life, have the ability to change how these children are viewing themselves. I read a really interesting statistic by some experts that said that girls between age 15 and 17, 90% of these girls will find some reason to stay home from school if they don't feel like they look good enough that day, or they don't like the way that they feel about themselves. And it's because of all of these external factors that have been impressed upon their subconscious mind for so long.
Well, that's a huge age. I have a 13-year-old, and sometimes just even when it's time to go somewhere, even last night, for instance, perfect example, it's like, "Mom, what am I going to do with my hair?" And it's sad because they go to school, they have to feel a certain way, or feel that they have to impress someone. What do you tell these little girls, or even the young men, because it can go both ways, how to accept who they are and not worry about their peers? We talked about the adults, but even worrying about their peers.
Sure.
To make sure that they're confident in who they are.
Sure. So one of the things that I like to tell clients that I work with, and certainly other people as well, is, we all compare our behind the scenes to other people's highlight reels. So, are we really comparing a true version of ourselves to others around us? They say that every printed image in magazines and the images that we see on the internet of all of these famous people, not a single one of those images has been not retouched. That even these celebrities and these figures that we as girls and even young boys are looking up to are not realistic. That we have to realize that we have the power and we have the strength within ourselves to decide who we're going to be, and that we are, what we're comparing ourselves to in these printed ads is not even realistic. That these are made up images that have been retouched by computers. So what I tell these people, and I tell these young girls, is that you have to know that you're worthy. You have to know that you're enough, and that your behind the scenes is nothing compared to their highlight reels. That you have to know that you're worthy of whatever it is you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah. Wow. And there's I noticed the ones that are lashing out or making someone feel a certain way, they're dealing with so much internal and things at home. Do you deal
Sure.
with that as far as letting up people understand that there's something else that they're dealing with, and that's maybe a way for them to, understand what's going on in their life?
Sure. So, one of the most important things in making decisions, and certainly making decisions about how we feel about ourselves, is to always choose to do what you know to and not what you feel. So many of the decisions that we make in our lives are based on our feelings and on our emotions, and we tend to act and react emotionally and quickly. But if we just did what we know to do and not what we felt to do, what we felt we wanted to do at the time, then making those decisions about how we feel about ourselves, we would do what we knew to do. if you were having lunch in a restaurant and somebody says there's a fire, it's burning, we have to get out, we have to evacuate. And you said, well, I just bought my lunch and I want to eat my lunch and I was really looking forward to this meal. Well, what you know to do is to run out of the burning building. You're not going to do what you feel that you want this great lunch that you just ordered. You need to do what you know to do, which is to run out of that burning building. And so many of us do that. We make those decisions based on what we feel rather than just doing what we know we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. What age group do you normally work with? And when they come to you, what is one of the main issues, I'll say, that you have to work with, and how do you work with that?
Sure. So honestly, I work with people, and particularly women, but of all different ages, from preteen all the way up through, through grown women. And one of the first things that I work with them on is are you living the life that you want to live? Are you doing what you want to be doing? If you could name anything in the world that you wanted to do with your life, are you doing what you're doing? And if you are, fantastic. And how can I support you in furthering that and living out these huge dreams that you have for your life? If not, what do you want to do? If you could do and be anything in your life that you wanted to be, what would you do? What would you do? And so a lot of times people say, well, if only I had the money, or if only I were famous, then I would do this and that. And so what I find is we have to stop the script that's running in the back of our minds. Just like a computer program, there's always a script kind of running in the back. There's always a program running that we don't even realize is running sometimes, but we need to stop. And sometimes we just need to reprogram that computer. We just need to do a system reboot and start from the beginning. Start from what we know. Start from what we know to do. And say, what do I want out of my life? Just like installing these new programs on your computer. If I could install anything that I wanted to on my computer, what would I have? If I could have the best programs in the world, what would I put onto that computer? Because if you're rebuilding it, why not put the best that you can on there? And that's just the same way with our mindset. We have to stop that script from running that's causing some chaos in our lives. The script that's running on our computers often contains viruses and things that we just need to shut down. So when we do that with our mindset, when we stop that script from running and we allow anything that we want to do and be to come into our mind, well then, we have limitless possibilities. So that's one of the first things that I do with my clients is to find out, what do you want to do with your life? And what are those things that you tell yourself as to why you can't do them? So that's certainly one of the first things that we work on.
And you find that most people are holding themselves back. They're the reasons, and sometimes it's not even the money. They say it's the money, but don't you find it's just that, like you said, that little computer that's running in the back of their mind that's telling them that they just can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things we work on is figure out, where does that come from? Because I believe that if we don't find the source of where that's coming from, then just like the virus on our computer, it can so easily come back. We have to find out where that's coming from and resolve that issue to begin with, and then we can start with that fresh slate and build whatever we want to build with our lives.
Yeah, I believe that Hollywood just paints this oh so great picture of people and their lives and how they're living. You see these celebrities, they just seem like they're living it up, but I find that a lot of them are dealing with a lot of things on the inside, and because they can camouflage it with TV and photos, our children and even some of the adults are falling prey to this, and they're not understanding that these people are hurting on the inside too, and that's unfortunate because that's who our children are following. And again, some adults as well. It's not one or the other. I know adults that feel like they have to look like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian or or look like Beyonce, not understanding the hard work too that comes with it. Is that
Right.
something that you talk to your clients about, that hard work and letting them know that they have issues too? They're not
Right.
perfection.
Definitely. We're all a work in progress, and we all have things that we're working on and dreams that we're working towards. And what I talk to clients about who are wanting to look a certain way or have certain things is, who are you wanting these things for? Who are you wanting to impress, or who are you wanting to gain in your life by changing these things for? We can easily change our hair color or cut our hair, but what is the real issue? Why are we really doing this? Is it because we want to feel better about ourselves, because it's going to give us more confidence and it's going to allow us to feel better in presenting ourselves? Or is it because we want to look like somebody else? Is it because we like the way this person, this famous person who has this haircut and this hairstyle has this, and they're famous and they're popular and everyone thinks they're beautiful and loves them? Are we trying to be like them? Or are we just doing it because that's who we want to be? So certainly finding out, who are you changing for and what are you wanting to make these changes for, is certainly something that I always work with them to find out as well.
I on actually last week, last Saturday, I believe, I was speaking with a guy, and he made a good point too, as far as who are you changing for, and you need
Right.
to change for yourself, because there's things that if there was someone, just say you and I, for instance,
Right.
there's things that you have, maybe your clothes or my clothes, we really can't exchange. We may not be the same size, we might not have the same taste, it may look better on you than me and vice versa. But
Right.
people don't understand that. All they see is, I want this, I want that. So I think what you're doing is so wonderful. We have to
Thank you.
understand us, starting with me. I've had to understand, one of the biggest fears that I had was to even be on camera. I just didn't
Sure.
think I had it. Why would somebody accept me? I'm not all made up, and I'm not the skinniest person in the world, and I don't have the high cheekbones, but I had to love me for me and
Right.
accept me for me. What was your transition that said, you know what, I am who I am, and I'm going to move forward because I'm going to show these other people that they are who they are and they can be loved just the way they are?
Sure. So it's actually been a transformation process for me over the last few years. And one of the first things I did was I made a career change. And in that career change, I aligned myself with a group of people who thought differently than I had been thinking, and who thought about themselves differently than I had always thought about myself. They introduced me to a profession and to a field of business and professionalism that I had not been aware of. And in spending time with these individuals, I realized that these were the kinds of people that I wanted to be like. And so I found that the more time that I spent with them, they say that you're the sum of the six people that you hang around with the most. So in surrounding myself with people that I wanted to be like and I wanted to think like, they stimulated me to start questioning, how did I think about myself? And I started to get curious about those feelings. I thought, where do these feelings come from? Why do I feel this way? Why have I made some decisions that I've made based on just simply how I felt about myself? So in doing that, I started doing more research and some real soul searching within myself, and realizing that, I had the power within myself to do and be anything that I wanted to be, but it all had to come from within, and that I had to have that confidence in myself. Now, it certainly took them having confidence in me before I had that confidence in myself. But, they believed in me, and they continued to believe in me until I started to believe in myself. And so, I still align myself with this group of people who continue to push me to be more and to think more. And I encourage everyone else that I work with to surround themselves with the type of people that they want to be like, to have those influences around them who inspire them and motivate them to be what they want to be, and to have the characteristics and the traits and the confidence that they want to have. That, we can always emulate others and copy others until we can take on those characteristics ourselves. It's one of the best ways of learning a new skill or task, is to watch someone else who's doing what you want to be doing and copy them. Just do what they're doing until you have that belief in yourself to be able to stand on your own.
Yeah. Have you lost some people along the way?
I have, and that was a tough decision. I certainly had a group of people around me that weren't thinking and weren't acting the way that I wanted to be, and that's a difficult trap to be in. These were close friends, and they were people that I had been around for years. But as I started questioning, how I felt about myself and where I wanted to go in my life, I realized that sometimes that we just need to leave some people behind. That we just need to say, you know what, I'm making some changes in my life, and if you don't hear from me, you're one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I certainly had to leave some people behind, but it was only to be able to move myself to the next level.
Yeah, that was probably one of my hard things, but it was the best thing for me, was letting some people go, and not so much permanently, but temporarily. And then if it ended up permanently, then it is what it is. But I really thank you so much for being on. I love your passion. I hear it in your voice.
Thank you.
And I'm glad someone's out there, and there's more like you that's out there as well, that's teaching others. And our young girls, especially us as women, we really need to learn this and understand this, because sometimes we have it hard. And it may even start as an adult, like with me. It didn't start when I was a child, because I had a lot of people uplifting me, but it starts as an adult as well. Before I let you go, I don't know if someone in our audience, did you have any questions or anything to say? Want to leave it open? Okay. If not, no? Okay. I appreciate you for being on. Why don't you leave something with everybody, and once you leave that special message, also let everybody know how they can get in contact with you if they want to book you, whatever it is that you're doing, so that they can come and find you. Why don't you leave that here with us?
Sure, definitely. What I just want people to remember is to know that you're worthy, and to believe in yourself, and to know that whatever script is running through your mind, to know that you have the power to shut that down, and you have the power to make your life whatever you decide you want it to be, but to believe in yourself, and that by doing so, you can have everything that you want, and you can live the authentic life that you've always wanted. You can reach out to me on Facebook. It's Jennifer R. Tuley, Jennifer, the letter R, and the last name T as in Tom, Uley. And you can also reach out to me on my website. It's www.jennifertuley.com, www.jennifertuley.com.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you for being on, and I wish you so much success, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And for those that want to be a part of Pursuing Your Passion, if you're looking to be a guest on my show, I'm always looking for great guests, so that you can encourage others to pursue their passion, whatever field it's in. You can contact me at booking@commaspeaks.com. You can also visit my website, which is commaspeaks.com. And you can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, under Comma Speaks. I am looking so forward to our great guests, my great guests that are coming up. I have two that are coming up next week. Make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be a great season and great year for pursuing your passion. If you want to get in contact with Jennifer, I'll leave her information. Make sure you reach out to her. Spread the word that pursuing your passion is out there, helping motivate others to go after your goals. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Stay encouraged, everyone. Continue to follow me, and I appreciate your time. Again, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for those that are tuning in. Have a wonderful night, and remember, no more excuses, just results. So make your life happen. Thank you.